Hello, everyone, and welcome Laura Bergells. She is a virtual trainer, content writer, LinkedIn instructor, and author for lynda.com. And please check out her extremely useful blog, maniactive.com. Did I pronounce that correctly?
2 thumbs up.
Woohoo! Cool. Okay, good. So thank you so much for being here with us. I wanted to run through just some quick questions so I could get your advice and use you as just the wonderful resource that you are. First off, I wanted to ask you, so how have you seen effective communication and effective public speaking actually impact people professionally?
Well, as you know, Ashley, I'm a trainer, and I often get to work with a lot of different people on their public speaking skills, from very novice presenters who are nervous to very seasoned presenters that lost their nerves lost being nervous and still need to go back to the basics to focus on people. So what I've discovered is whether you're at the part where you're novice and new, or whether you're seasoned, people respond to confidence. So having that base skill of being confident and knowing, because you've been prepared, you know how to do things, you've done the body work, you've done the structure, being prepared helps people be more confident when they go to do public speaking. And then execution. Once they have that preparation and that practice behind them, they can execute flawlessly, and the confidence comes through. And I've seen that. I think I get a special reward seeing it with young people and people who are new to public speaking, who are nervous, and then they come out of it and they are so confident, and you watch their careers blossom from that confidence that people respond to.
I really try to stress with my students that these skills can make you more apt to maybe get promoted, to be chosen to represent your company somewhere.
Exactly right. I often do, of course, I have to, oral reports in classes, which I know students hate oral reports, right? But, working on those skills and those confidence skills and watching them grow throughout a course, and then, now I have to do an interview. But even that little bit of oral practice in class that we do and getting that feedback and practice helps make them more prepared for when they go into that interview situation. And since I've been doing this for a while, I always feel gratified when I hear, on LinkedIn, they'll post, yes, I got the job. And then 2 years later, yes, I got a promotion. Yes, not only did I get a promotion, but I'm speaking at this event. And in my head, I'm remembering them, kind of cowering first when they got up on stage and like, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to do this. And now they're bold, they're more confident, and they're moving forward in their careers in a really positive direction.
You mentioned in the beginning preparation, and preparation being key. And so I wanted you as an expert to tell me, how do you personally prepare before you have to go and give a talk?
Number one is audience. Almost every single time somebody asks me to speak, I will always ask, who's the audience? What are their concerns? What do you want them to know about? What's their background? What's their demographic? I just become extremely curious about the audience. And that does a couple of things for you. It lets me prepare what I'm going to say, but it also helps get me out of my head and helps me focus more on that audience. That gives me a lot of confidence too, when I can get out of my head and put myself more in the framework of that audience. And of course, there are other steps that I take other than audience participation or audience querying.
So how do you plan out and practice? Do you think there's a right way to practice?
One right way, perhaps not. I do like starting with the audience. I do like stating what is the objective and knowing what the objective is of when I'm doing a speaking engagement or when I'm doing any kind of coursework of what is the key takeaway? What do I, at the end of this, what do I want students or the audience to think, do, or feel? That's one part of the preparation that I don't think you can get away from. Your audience and knowing them and knowing what the takeaway is, knowing what that objective is. After that, we go into different areas of how do we do our outline. And I always do love starting with an outline, because once you know your objective, you want to know, is my objective overall to persuade? Is it to inform? What is my objective? Is it to entertain people? I need to know what that is. From there, this is where things can really go off into different stages. I like to get into the outlining in the doodle stage. I'm old school. I like to do it with paper and pen. I like to do it on whiteboards. I like using sticky notes and throwing them around. So my process, when I start to get that outline going and filling things in, is messy. No question about it. Sometimes I like writing specifically and I don't write or speak to a script.
Yes.
That doesn't work for me. I like having an outline. However, what I find that I'll do often is I will write an entire script. I will never speak to the script. The writing process is for me and my brain so that I can think through those ideas between the outline. And so that's me. Other people are like, no, I need to skip that step. And I completely understand that. If you're a writer or word-centric like I am, sometimes that's just a really helpful part of the thinking process. Other people feel more comfortable just sketching out a few ideas and getting that through. The other thing that I'll do as part of preparation, and there's no getting around this, this is where a lot of people goof it up, practice. You must rehearse. You must. And people want to just reject that part all the time. They always say, you know, I have it in my head, but there's a huge difference between having it in your head and what happens when it comes out of your mouth and what you do with your body during that. All of that ends up being completely different. So yeah, you do have to rehearse.
Yes. And, you know, I heard there was somebody named Carmine Gallo, and he says, authenticity is hard work. Authenticity takes work. And I just absolutely love that line because, you know, people look at these awesome presentations and they think that they're just so conversational and that this person obviously has natural skill and natural ability. And I've got some natural skill and natural ability. So I'll just stand up there and I'll look flawless.
Exactly. Authenticity. I often call authenticity playing authenticity theater, right?
Uh-huh.
I love this scene. It was from a sitcom called My So-Called Life, and it starred a very young Claire Danes. It used to be on MTV, and she played a teenager at that point, and people were telling her just to be herself. And she says, what does that even mean? It's like, be yourself, like yourself is a toaster, like it's this thing that it can just be. You can't just be yourself. And in sociology, Cooley came up with the term the looking glass self. And
Yes.
it's, you are not who you think you are. You are not even who I think you are. What you are is who you, who you think I think you are.
Yes.
And that's complicated stuff. I mean, you're a Popeye or a two-dimensional character. You can just say, I am what I am. That's all I am. I'm a toaster. But human beings are in so many different circumstances where we're responding to other people. I'm different in front of my boyfriend than I am in front of you or in front of a class. We have so many different social situations to navigate, to be authentic.
Yeah. A lot of these classes, especially right now, are online for students. I know both of my courses are online currently, and there are a lot of other instructors who are moving their classes online. Mine have always been online. But do you think there's an added benefit for students taking these classes online right now, especially in terms of public speaking, where they have to record themselves. They may have to, in my class, they have to do a group presentation where they use Zoom.
Yes, I do the same thing in my corporate public speaking classes too. As you might imagine, right now, on camera training, a lot of companies are going to that because they have to. They've been pressured into it by circumstances. So I will run Google Classroom in the background and have people upload recorded videos. So I get a baseline of how they perform on camera and I can critique that. And then we go into the live sessions and we do more exercises in a live session. And then at the end of the session, it's like, okay, we've got another recorded video to do and another. And oh, now we're doing a group presentation because that puts in more skills. How do we speak together on Zoom or your other favorite web conferencing platform without stomping all over each other as we speak? Or another thing that I love saying, just because you're not speaking doesn't mean that you're not presenting.
I love
right?
that so much.
You're on camera all the time. You have got to be seen supporting your teammates while you're on camera. Right? If you're just disinterested and looking at your phone and doing something else while your teammate is speaking, that sends a message to the audience that you're not very cohesive as a team. And that sends that emotional message of, do I really trust what these people are saying? They don't seem to be working that well together.
Yes.
So yeah, we have to prepare those sort of team presentations too.
In terms of this COVID era right now, do you see a lot of the companies that are doing more online? Do you see a lot of that sticking around? And what can students do to make themselves more prepared to enter into the workforce? I've got quite a few seniors, and I know that they're really nervous right now.
I understand the nerves, but over the past 4 months, as I've been training a lot, my phone started ringing with, hey, we've got a sales conference and boy, we can't fly everyone into that same center like we used to be able to do. We have to do this online. Make us ready to do that. And at the early stages of this, companies were like, we have to do this now, of course, but going forward, we'll go back to normal. And that's like my most hated phrase of the year right now. We are not going back to anything, right? We can only move forward.
Yes.
After they've had this experience of going forward, and let's face it, they all have not been grand slam, home run successful, but they have learned from their mistakes by doing that. I am seeing the companies that I've worked with be energized by this. They're like, we're rethinking things right now. Instead of flying people in once a year for this week-long thing in this fabulous luxury resort, we have saved a lot of money by, number one, not doing that. We have rethought about things like, do we even have to do this once a week? Can it be, or once a year? Can we do it once a month, but one day, and keep that steady drip of training and culture building that comes with training? Can we do more asynchronous training where people are watching recorded videos and then we get together for a lunch and learn as a company? So I'm seeing a lot of corporate leadership rethink this because the people are excelling pretty rapidly. They're learning pretty rapidly how to present on camera and the advantages that come with that. So I think we're going to see a lot more blended learning opportunities going forward. We'll meet in person again, hopefully, but I don't think this is going to go away entirely. And if you're a senior, you should be excited by that because you might have a strategic advantage here because you are on-camera natives. A lot of the hiring managers that I work with are not on-camera natives. So that's a key selling point for you to say, you know what, I've been doing these online classes. I'm very comfortable with being on camera. I do on-camera presentations. You might have a strategic advantage that hiring managers are looking for.
That is an excellent point. And going on and thinking about those students that are going to be going on interviews, and a lot of them will probably be online interviews. I recently heard you on a podcast, and they had talked to you. They had just interviewed somebody the week before or whatnot, and they were discussing self-doubt. And you were on there, and right when they brought you on and they started talking about self-doubt, you immediately said, "I love self-doubters." And I really wish that the podcast host had latched onto that. I knew what you meant, but can you explain to me just a little bit what you meant by "I love self-doubters"?
I will, because this opinion that I have about self-doubt is not very popular right now. I have imposter syndrome, right? I have it bad. And people will say, well, how do you overcome imposter syndrome? How do you overcome that self-doubt? How are you able to do that? And my answer to that was, I never did.
Yep.
Instead of having your goal be, how can I overcome self-doubt? How can I overcome my imposter syndrome? What I'd like people to do is change their relationship with it. All right? Keep it. Because I think of people who have imposter syndrome that are at the tops of their careers. Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant actor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maya Angelou, perhaps one of the best poets ever. She had imposter syndrome.
It's crazy.
Sandra Sotomayor, a Supreme Court justice. So my imposter syndrome, my self-doubt, I'm like, gee, I'm in good company. These are fabulous people at the tops of their careers. And you know what my self-doubt does and my imposter syndrome does for me? And this is why I want to embrace it and love it and not overcome it. It inspires me to always learn more.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to stop learning. It helps me help my clients because I have empathy with what self-doubt is, but it always makes me research just a little bit more and dig just a little bit deeper. And I hope that resonates with people.
There's somebody, and I know I'm probably butchering her name, and I hate doing that because I grew up with an Italian last name that everybody mispronounced, but it's Mora Aarons Mele. And I hope I pronounced that correctly. She has this podcast, and it's all about functioning with social anxiety and being, top in your game, but understanding that you have anxiety. And she did an episode where I really loved it because she talked about the benefits of having that anxiety and being a professional, because it will mean you strive for perfection. So your work is just always impeccable, and using that attention to detail and thinking of that anxiety as actually almost in some ways like a superpower, in that it makes you hyper focused on getting the job done and getting it done really well. So I really loved what you just, how you see self-doubt and how you can use it, again, almost like that superpower, even though you think of self-doubt as being negative, but using it and reframing it as something positive. I think that's really great for students to hear.
Yeah, and one way that you can do that, or at least it's a way that I do that, is to have a mindfulness practice. Mm-hmm. That's me. I'm a long-time meditator, but when you're in a meditative practice too, you can see some of those feelings or emotions or thought arise and say, oh, there it is. It's self-doubt. Hello, self-doubt. What are you teaching me today? Maybe you're teaching me that I can read a new book or take a new class or think a little bit more deeply about this issue that I'm having. And I really like that a lot of famous people have that self-doubt too, because imagine if they overcame it. Imagine if Tom Hanks said, you know what, I'm the greatest actor in the world now. 2 Oscars in a row for Best Actor. I'm done. I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to. Oh, he would be terrible if he did that. So constantly having that, bite at you, it can really fuel a lot of your creativity and your connection with people.
Yeah, it's that power of vulnerability and being okay with your vulnerability. I just love that.
Yeah. People, while I say that people respond to confidence, they also respond to the vulnerability. If you are nothing but confident, if you are nothing but invulnerable, people don't respond to that very well.
Yes. And I'm sure you discussed this, but those nerves that we all feel, most of the time those nerves are there because we want to do a good job.
I agree so much. I would often tell my nervous presenters in class that I love your nerves because it means that you're very concerned about doing a good job. And that is the price, that is the honor that you are showing your audience.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Do you have any other lasting words of wisdom for these students that maybe we didn't cover today?
Yeah, one thing, you have an incredible opportunity to practice right now. Things like LinkedIn, you put videos up there so that your future employers can see you, get a sense of you. If you're going to be posting videos online in a professional setting, start doing that right now so that there is a sense of, look they know how to present on camera. What is it that you're presenting? In my experience, what I'm finding is helpful information. So think about what it is that is helpful information to employers going forward, and you have a great opportunity to practice and to post. And hopefully that can get you the attention and the experience that you need to really land that job and thrive in your career.
I recommend all students right now have a LinkedIn account.
Yes, especially if they want to get hired. I was just talking to a CEO of a large corporation yesterday, and he was talking about focusing more of his efforts on LinkedIn, not so much just for hiring right now because he's in a hiring slower period, but because that's where he goes to find his leads. Well, as long as he's there, if he sees somebody that really piques his interest and attention through a video or through a post and makes that will drive interest in having him go to your profile, there's some power in that. And that profile is professional. It is more than an online resume, and it is a way for you to stand out to hiring managers and to others that might be interested in hiring you.
I actually have them do an elevator pitch, perfect an elevator pitch about themselves, because I think a lot of times students have a very hard time speaking about themselves and doing it in a networking type of way. And then I tell them, once you get it to where you think it's great and you've gotten my feedback and you've probably, hopefully revised it after my feedback, take that video and post it to your LinkedIn. So you think that's a good thing to do?
Yeah, you put that right on your profile. That way, if somebody is intrigued by what you've posted on LinkedIn and they go to your profile and they see exactly what it is that you're all about, and you can do it in a 30-second soundbite, that's gold. That's absolutely gold. And the other thing is, if hiring managers are on LinkedIn, they are often searching for the jobs that they want to fill. So be sure to put in your profile what it is that you want to be hired for. All right? That way, you get a little extra search engine juice through LinkedIn. So that's another hot tip when you're looking for a job.
All just excellent tips, excellent information. And I just appreciate you so much. I'm really trying to make these videos and help students see that just because we're in a difficult time right now, that doesn't mean that you can't move ahead, that you can't market yourself, and that you can't fine tune what skills you already have and then gain some others in the process right now.
I agree. And like I said, practice, do the videos, do the posting in a professional environment. It's content marketing, and it's content marketing you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. And I just really appreciate this.
So I guess that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Thank you so much.